Hey everyone, this is Eli. In this video, I'm going to be looking at making cake. Twitter is blowing up over cake, what is and isn't cake. I'm going to try my very best to look like cake. It's going to be low poly or whatever. There's a community that would call anything with jagged edges low poly, so I'm going to classify this as low poly. It's going to be jagged edges right before we learn about normal. So I'm going to build a cake. It's going to look quote unquote low poly. And then the next video, we're going to make it nice and smooth, and we're going to texture it or whatnot. So this video is going to be building more intricate 3D mesh, and next videos are going to be touching it up and making it look nice. So I chose a cake because we can make a cake with just a bunch of cylinders. You can do a lot of small and tall and wide and short and smush them around. And if we're going to do that, we need to extend our build ring function. Our build ring function is pretty basic as is. Right now, it takes the number of sides you want for that ring. It takes the radius. It takes the offset, and then it always chooses a height of 1. So it doesn't matter our radius, it's always going to be 1 unit tall. So you see that here, doesn't matter our radius, it is 1 unit. We're going to fix that in this video. We're also going to add other functionality. What are these cool little features we're adding to our ring function, you ask? The first one is that we're going to be able to change the starting radius, so the bottom portion of the ring, to the top radius. So we're going to be able to say something like the bottom radius, or the starting radius of the ring is 1, but the top radius of the ring is 0.5. So you actually get a slope or a pyramid-ish looking thing. With that, we can build stuff like cones. So we can say the bottom radius is 1 and then the top radius is 0. And what you'll have is a cone come up. Really what's going to be happening is this build ring functionality is slowly becoming our primitive. What we're going to be going to a lot, because it's going to be able to do a lot of different things. It's going to also have a lot of parameters, but that's the trade-off we're dealing with. I'm drinking this Pinot Noir. JK. Pinot Noir. It's canned wine, so it's as good as you think it is. Another thing we're going to be doing is actually adding an additional offset. So we're going to have the bottom portion offset, and then we're going to have an offset off of that. So if our offset we pass is originally, let's say, vector 3 up, so just 1 unit up, and we pass it then another offset, which is vector 3 up and right, it's going to add it to the first offset, and then that's going to be the top ring's radius's offset. So if we take that cone example, we can pass it a bottom radius of 1 and a top radius of 0, and then we can also pass that top portion of the ring and offset and shift it around. And we can do cool little things like that. So just with that functionality, just with those 2 extra parameters, we're going to be able to achieve a lot of effects that you will now see demonstrated in this video. So the changes we're actually going to add aren't that complicated, but what we can then do with that is a lot. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this video. So I really hope you enjoy watching it. I'm going to take my time making it. Hopefully it's not too long though. I'm gonna come out to look into. You're gonna be able to say, yeah, I guess that's a cake. That's my goal. So let's make a cake or whatever. So where do we begin? First, take note that I'm operating in the cake1 command folder. So if you want to look at this code later, you go into the folder that is cake1, and then you can see everything I'm doing here. So really, we need to go into the build ring functionality. We're going to add those parameters I was just talking about. We're going to rename some things and add some things. And so let's dive in. You see a sides, that's going to stay the same, radius and offset. So what we're going to change these parameters to is bottom radius. We're going to say top radius. I don't know if Golang supports this. I feel like it does. I can break out all these things into their own, but I might just be crazy. Not sure. We will see in a second. So two new parameters, all the functionality. As I was saying earlier, we're going to touch on this function one more time later. We're going to introduce quaternions so that we can actually rotate this thing around. I'm going to dedicate that as an entire video, quaternions, learning about what you can and can't do with them and really the cool magic stuff behind them. So I really want to dedicate its own video to that. But we don't need them today for the cake, or it would be cool if we had them today, but we're gonna just deal with what we got now. So bottom radius, top radius, bottom offset, top offset. Things are breaking, no surprise there. That's pretty much intentional. And then we're also adding bottom offset. I think that makes everything work, unless you just don't know float 64 and vector 3. Have I already messed things up? That's impressive. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Bottom radius. Bottom radius. Cool. Go static compilers. And now our cake's gonna be broken because it doesn't have those extra parameters. Unfortunately, we're just literally going to be keeping it the same across them for now, so that we have reference to make sure nothing breaks for the standard use case. So that's our bottom layer. Gonna do the same thing for middle. Breaking it all out. Cool, so now it should stay the same, right? Are you still not compiling? Yeah, it's having issues. Oh, yeah, because commas and stuff. That makes sense. I'm not mad about that. Cool, maybe? Just maybe? Nope, still having issues. I'll pull the terminal up a little higher. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Old videos are now breaking because I'm changing the what I'm running. That's pretty funny. Okay, looks like everything's running again. I'm gonna actually have to go back and fix older videos because I'm changing the API. Man, look at that. That's hits too close to home. Whatever. So yeah, I'm hitting save and things are updating, and then if I say top layer is actually 2, we're gonna get some weird gear looking stuff. Nope, right, whatever. We're getting what we expected. Okay, so let's now add the extra functionality to the ring. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is be able to change the top radius to be different from the bottom radius. So if we look, we just need to work on the vertices we're creating. That's pretty simple, because our triangles actually aren't going to change. The triangles are going to stay the same. We're just changing the vertices that the triangles are referencing. So that's actually kind of a cool, I guess it's a separation of concerns. It lends itself nicely in this type of function, at least. So what do we got to do? Let's see. What do we got to do? We have our vertices. Our vertices are being appended here. So we actually append the vertices twice. the first one, and then we take the first one and just move it up some. So this is definitely going to change a lot with the offsets, but what can we do right now? What can we do right now? Oh, and then I shift them all by the offset. Okay, I did that kind of weird. Did I do it weird? I guess it makes sense. Trying not to put myself in a hole or something. So we're gonna say V2 or V top for top radius. And instead of doing V add, we're just gonna do, I guess for now we'll do V2, V top add. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Is that it? Did I just finish that function? I think that's it. And I did offset again because I am super smart. Nothing should change, but it should still compile. Cool. Now if I go ahead, can I just get this to slant now? Can I go 3 to 2 and then can I do 2 to 1? And let's see, does it slant? Well, that's cool. Made a funnel. Or that Pixar eye lamp looking thing. I'll change the number of faces being generated. I'll make them all match so that you won't get that scene, because that's kind of annoying. Look how smooth that is. You can't even see the other layer though, so we'll need to fix that. But that's very nice, cool start. Very, very promising. So I need to actually add one extra parameter, which is height to the ring. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. Height, float. I don't know why I put a comma right there. Float 64. And now everything's gonna break again. I'm gonna change the height to be 1 each time. And nothing should change. Big surprise. Now we need to take into account this height. It's going to be done right here where we say add. We're going to multiply it times, or sorry, multiply by constant height. And that's actually it taking into account things. So I can actually shrink that top portion now. That top portion, we could make it really short. Or actually, let's make it really long, so it actually kind of looks like a funnel. Let's do make it a height of 3, and then we'll actually taper it off a little bit to 0.7. Will this look like a funnel? That looks more like a funnel. Cool, so we have procedurally generated ourselves a funnel. That's actually really cool. That's satisfying. And then once we add the normals, it'll be even more satisfying. And then once we texture it, we'll be like, once we add the texturing, we'll be making money at that point. So cool, good start. This build ring primitive is coming along nicely. Now we need to do the offsets. Let's change the top portion of the ring to be different from the bottom portion of the ring's offsets. So now I'm going to try to move this circle up here. Let's see if I can move it to the right or something and make it really awkward. We are taking into account the bottom offset right now, but we now need to do the top offset, I think. So why would I do it right here? It's literally just adding. It's literally just adding. I'm not gonna do it right here anymore. I'm gonna comment out this entire thing and then eventually delete it. Copy, add bottom radius, and then we're gonna do add bottom radius, and then we're gonna add top radius. Or sorry, I keep saying radius and offset. I keep getting those mixed up. I think that's literally all I need to do. I hope so. So what happens? Let's hit save. Uh-oh, terminated, undefined real vertices. What's wrong? What's wrong? Oh, okay. I did that really weird. I don't know. I guess I'd been drinking. Weird. Now it's doing other things. So we can take a look and see why that is. I mean, we know why it, oh, I know why it is, because we're actually, yeah, so this should be vector 3.0 if we don't want any changes to happen. So we're gonna change it, vector 3.0. And we'll get back what we originally had. I can't even copy and paste correctly. Now we have back what we originally have, but we can also now shift things around. So I can actually see, let's see, vector 3 right, and I'm gonna multiply it by like 4 and make it really skewed. So what's gonna happen is this portion, this top portion, is gonna shoot off in a direction when I hit save. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm sure some funnels look like that. I've just made a whole different funnel. That's pretty cool. That looks like a, I won't say it looks like a lambda. That's stretching it. But it is making progress. I know it looks like not a lot, but we can actually start building a lot of things. We're gonna start with actually formally building a cylinder. What's the difference between a ring and a cylinder? A cylinder will have a top and bottom. These things are completely see-through, or not see-through. They're just, you can walk through them or whatever. I don't know, what's the proper way to say it? They have a hole. These things have a hole. Capsules will not have a hole. Cylinders will not have a hole. So let's make a cylinder function. So and it's going to take the same exact parameters as build ring, and it's going to return us a mesh, just like build ring does. We're going to be lazy how we do the implement this function. And of course, you don't know what a mesh is. It's Mango dot mesh. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use 3 rings to build the cylinder. We're gonna use 1 ring to build the shaft. We're gonna use another ring with 0 height to close the top, and another ring with 0 height to close the bottom. So let's comment all this out. I'm gonna say C is cylinder. We're gonna, yeah, sure, 30, 2, 1, 1, vector 3, 0. And now we expect this thing to then put out a just solid cylinder with no holes in it. So right now it's going to do nothing. It's probably going to show us a B, actually. Terminated. Oh, well, or it's just going to break because I didn't actually return anything. Return mesh. B? Yeah, okay. Cool, that's because we are passing it nothing, so we're gonna need to make it return something. So we're gonna have one thing that is the shaft. It's gonna be build ring, and wow, there's no way to nicely pass everything, is there? Just pass it everything. That was easy. We need the top to shaft. So the top of the shaft is going to be the bottom plus the top. And then there's going to be no top offset because it's going to be flat. The top radius is going to be 0. And the bottom radius is going to be the top radius, as weird as that sounds. Oh, I'm being dumb. The cylinders, do I want to keep that? Yeah, I'm going to say a cylinder's top radius can be different from the bottom. I'll keep that. And then we're going to keep the same heights inside. And hopefully that just works, maybe. No. Okay. That's cool, though. Reminds me of like that jet engine kind of deal. That's fine. That's cool. So, why is that happening? Looks like top radius is right. Or top offset is right. But the bottom is wrong. So bottom plus top is wrong. So that means I probably got something wrong with my build ring. That's probably the issue. Oh, nope, height's the issue. Build ring, the top portion has 0 height. That's one issue. And it's going to start, so this should be flat now, right? Yes. So we effectively made the bottom portion, kind of. And now we need to use that height and apply it to our bottom offset. That is the issue. Dot add. And it's going to be kind of ugly right now because we don't have quaternions. Dot new vector 3, 0, 0. Man, and that's why we broke this into a separate function. So cool. And now that should be at the top, hopefully. Yep. And now we just need to do something similar for the bottom. And then we'll have ourselves a cylinder. But instead of the bottom offset, we're going to remove the height. So I know this looks right, but I don't think it is. I think the top portion is right, but the bottom isn't. And I say that because of the clockwise versus counterclockwise. And I say that because I think we can, if this was in a 3D game engine, I think we'd look right through this bottom. And I think we can tell that, yeah. So anything just completely blacked out in this model viewing software means you're seeing the backside or the culling side. So if we imported this into a game engine, the camera would completely ignore these faces and you'd see right through the bottom of the object. You might as well not have this right now. This is another big issue with game engines, or not, this is an issue with game engines. This is a very important optimization, but this is a big problem with importing some types of models in the game engines because you'll have a lot of faces that never get rendered but are there and they just take up space. So we need to be able to reverse this thing so that it's rendering the correct way. And I think we can do that. I'm pretty sure we can do that with the primitive we have built. So let's see, how exactly would we go about this? So call me crazy, but I think literally all we're going to have to do is flip the 0 and then the bottom offset. So instead of going from outwards in, we're going to go from inwards out. So I hope that's all we got to do. Nope, that was not the solution apparently. So that's not it. Let's see. What is the solution? So I'm dumb. I almost had it. Instead of changing the different offsets, instead of flipping them, I flipped the radii. So the bottom radius versus the top radius, you flip them and they'll make the faces change directions. And that's super powerful. And now we have the top and bottom. We actually have ourselves a cylinder. So let's go back. Let's change our cake to using cylinders instead of quote-unquote rings, and then we can go from there and build ourselves a proper tiered cake. So we're gonna do cylinder. I guess I'll uncomment all of this. And I think I literally will just say cylinder with no hiccups, right? No hiccups. It's gonna do some weird things because, yeah. Ooh, some super weird things. Ooh, some really super weird things. Okay. Why is that happening? It's not taking into account the proper radiuses. So I guess I should fix that first. Also, it looks like this isn't, the bottom isn't taken into account the proper offset. So that's, making this weird funnel was a really good debugging step. There is no way I'm writing tests for this portion. I am having too much fun to have it ruined by writing tests. Let's see. So the shaft itself is right. The bottom is incorrect in some form or fashion. It's definitely collapsing to a point, but does not look like the actual starting portion is correct. So we fix that with these different radiuses. I think this, does this need to be bottom radius? Let's see. Does this fix the bottom portion? That does fix the bottom portion. Okay, so that was quick and easy. Now this offset isn't being done right. So this is the bottom portion. And it looks like it's, oh, okay, so it's another copy and paste issue. So is it just I don't need to add the offset because it's the bottom? Yep, okay. I now need to build the 3-tiered cake. I'll put up an image with what I'm going to be trying to build. I have a thing in my mind. I'm also going to be doing something special with icing. If I have the patience, we'll also see some other cute primitives or pseudo primitives form. So if you want to call cylinder a primitive, we'll see another primitive in this video. So yeah, let's build that. Let's build that cake. So we're gonna have the same starting on all of these. No more going crazy in this area. How much that fixes up? Perfect. Almost. Remove that multiply by constant. Right? No, I need to fix the height. Fix the height. All right, that's looking more cake-like, I think, if I'm right about what cakes are. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have pedestals wrap around and stack each tier and make it super cute and as intricate as we can make it. So what these pieces of cake are going to be sitting on plates, and these plates are actually going to be suspended by columns. So each tier is going to be actually sitting on a plate suspended. Wow, that sounds like kind of recursive, maybe. At least we're going to put a tier in its own function. That's not the primitive I was talking about earlier, but we're going to create ourselves a cake tier function, I guess. Cake tier. If that's how you spell tier. It's going to return us a mesh. So what are the parameters going to be? That's a good question. I think we take the resolution of the geometry out of the equation now. I think we do that. We definitely want radius. We definitely want height. Let's just start with that. Let's start with that. We're going to do radius. I'm keeping that misspelling. Holy hell. And we want a height. We want a height. And we'll just make our bottom layer have that for now. And we're going to comment out the top layers. And we're going to comment out that. We're say bottom layer. And yeah, this is airing, of course. And let's just say it returns the cylinder for now. And we should just have the bottom layer. Nope, I did something bad. Oh yeah, cake tier, radius and height. We're gonna say the radius is 3 and the height is 1. And I guess we can get rid of that 1. And so this is going to take into account radius and then height. And that's pretty simple. Oh, duh, mango. Mango, mango, mango. Yep, that's our bottom tier. So what we're going to do with this is we're gonna add a plate at the bottom portion of it, and we're also gonna add some icing. So cylinder is gonna take care of the plate, and we're gonna have to build our new primitive with the icing. So let's do the plate. So I guess we'll say, we'll create a few meshes. We'll say the plate mesh is actually gonna be is this, and then we'll have a cake mesh, and we'll add the two together. And we're gonna say the plate, we're gonna hard code the thickness of the plate, and we're gonna say the thickness is like 0.02, I guess. I had no idea what I'm doing at this point. So, and we're going to reduce the radius by, let's do 0.02 as well. So the plate thickness actually also reduces the radius of the cake. And the vector 3 up is going to be multiplied by the constant plate thickness. So we're actually raising the cake as well by the plate. That sounds cool in my head. Is that right? I think that's right. I think we have the tiniest ass looking plate looking thing. Yeah, let's up. Oh, 0.02. Let's just do 0.2. How about that? Really thick cake. Actually, you know what? I like that. I'll do 0.15. And this is the fun of all this, is getting to mess around with these types of parameters. So in my head, in my pea brain, this top portion is the cake and this bottom portion is the plate. So we can then use this function and stack a bunch of cakes together. However, I do want columns to stack the tiers on top of one another. So what are we going to do with that? We're going to create a cake column function, I guess. Jeez. The cake column function. What even? Okay, that's that. Oh man, oh no, it's empty. I should have bought something else. So let's cake our columns. Cake column. Oh wait, no, I said I was gonna do icing as well. I did say I was gonna do icing as well. So let's leave this empty for now, and let's build our final primitive. It's not gonna be our final primitive. I don't know why the hell I said that, but we are gonna build an icing thing. Up until now, what ring has meant to us is a sheet of paper wrapped around itself. Not wrapped around itself, but wrapped around to make a circle. You take two ends and tape them together, you got yourself a ring. We're gonna create ourselves a ring with thickness, so you're gonna take a piece of paper, but instead of a piece of paper, it's gonna be like a sheet of metal, it's gonna have thickness, so you're gonna tape two ends together or weld two ends together. I'll avoid the word weld. We're gonna take the two ends, put them together, it's gonna have thickness, and we're gonna use that to represent icing. I call that a primitive because I know we're gonna be using that a lot as well in other videos, but I digress. Here we go, let's make our icing. I'm gonna write this function here in the videos command. I'm also gonna refactor it into the Mango library itself. So, I'm gonna call it thick ring for this video. I don't know what I'm going to call it once it gets put into the library. It's gonna take everything we've already, have already done for the cylinder, but we're gonna add thickness to it. Okay, we can build this the same way we just built the cylinder. It's actually kind of really cool. So, the build ring function rules all. We can build a lot of different things. So let's build a proper ring with thickness with the original ring command. I will modify the cake tier first, because the cake tier needs to take some icing, so it needs to actually have a thick ring on top of it. So we need to determine the height of the icing. We need to determine the thickness of the icing. I think I'm literally gonna keep it plate thickness. I'm just gonna keep that thickness rules all. I think I'm gonna have a thickness constant that goes throughout these videos. I won't say videos. Throughout this video, there's a thickness constant. Let's rename that. Thick const. Awesome. Let's create our icing from the thick const. We'll create the thick ring from the thick const. So icing, thick ring, and we know that's gonna be a mesh. So we'll go ahead and add our icing. I love the readability of the final return, the final statement. It's a plate with the cake and the icing. Pretty simple, duh. Of course, what else is a cake? You have cake and icing, yeah. Oh, that's recursive. A cake is a cake and icing. That's GNU-ish shit. These sides is gonna stay the same. I'll make this a constant as well. So cake sides is 30. Just so I don't have random 30s everywhere. So that's the first one. The height is gonna be, you guessed it, thick. Bottom radius and top radius. I'll do radius, yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. I think this might be where I go silent and do things. That's really not helpful. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shrink. We're gonna have the icing appear the same distances away as the cake appears from the plate. So if we look at this top down, oh, well, there's perspective. So you see that distance away from plate to cake, we'll see that exact distance from cake to icing. That's what we're going for when I say this. Bottom top radius, offset, and then thickness. Cool. So the offsets are going to be, what are the offsets going to be? So the offset plus height thing is confusing me, so maybe that's a bad API, maybe that's just bad design on my part. It's definitely bad design on my part. It's gonna be improved once we introduce quaternions. But so what we're going to do is we're gonna have the height, the height is the thickness again. And then the radii are the same, and then the offset is going to be, we're going to make that offset meet the top of this cake, which is actually the cake height. And then, what's our last one? The top offset is going to be 0 or whatever. And what we really have to do is say exactly what we just did here. But we're going to make it the height of the cake. And then we say, vector 3, 0. And then we say thickness, yay, again. And then we have to do, yeah. What's your issue, bud? Oh, yeah. Needs to return a mesh. Not just any mesh, the mango mesh. Because that's really not getting old with the naming convention and whatnot. Cool. Yes, icing returns us nothing. And now we really get to build our thick ring functionality. So it's really going to look a lot like our cylinder functionality to begin with. Our shaft is going to stay the same. Shaft is the same. No biggie. And honestly, just with that alone, we can start to see what our icing is going to look like. Right? Yes. What a good visual debug. So we already messed up with the radius of the icing. Right. Okay, so the cake is already it's already subtracting, so we need to do it twice. Sure, that's cheap. And now we'll get it inward. Yay! Now it's starting to kind of look like icing. Now let's build the top portion of our icing. It's going to be pretty, I won't say it's super similar to the top, but it's there. It's in the ballpark. Instead of going to 0, we're actually just going to go to the thickness of the ring itself. So we're going to use top radius. Yeah, the height 0, whatever. Top radius, and the bottom radius is 0. We're going to do top radius minus thickness, I think. Hopefully. I hope that's all I need to do. Yep, looks like it. Perfect. So at a lot of different angles, you can already see a top portion of the icing start to be applied. Now we need to do the inner portion of the ring, which is actually, so we did the bottom, which is kind of the reverse of the top. We're going to do a reverse of the shaft. So we went up the shaft, and now we're going to go down the shaft. So shaft, I don't know a good way to name that variable. Down the shaft, shaft down. So we need to do a reverse. It's going to start at the, let's see, it uses the 2 radii. The radii need to be subtracted by the thickness. And, oh yeah, commas and all that. And then you need to be used. Oh, right. This will be vector3 dot up. Or I'm not going to do vector3 dot up. I'll do vector dot new. If I could type, right? And I need to subtract. Oh wait, what am I doing? Ignore. Okay. So sorry. I accidentally messed with the offset and really should have been radius. And that's gonna be building a wall. But yeah, it's reversed, so now we need to swap the top and bottom. And I think how we can do that, one easy way is we can say it has negative height, but the bottom offset is dot add vector3 dot up multiplied by the constant of the height. I think that might do it. I think that might reverse it. Yep, that did it. So there's our crappy looking icing. Congratulations, we have more of a cake. We have our bottom plate, the cake itself, and then the icing on top going around a ring of the plate. So now all that there is to do is use that cake tier function 3 times and then use columns or pedestals or whatever to stack them up. So let's build the pedestal function now. So we have a cylinder. A cylinder is really gonna do almost everything. That's actually gonna do everything we need, isn't it? It's actually gonna do everything we need. We just need 3 cylinders. So let's specify the number of columns or something. We'll do like num columns. That's an int. And we're gonna iterate over the number of columns. And I think I'm just gonna do a regular for loop. So we're gonna have a resulting columns mesh empty mesh. Let's start with, that's our equivalent of 0. And we'll continually add to it different columns. So or cylinders or whatever. We're going to say equals the resulting columns dot add cylinder. Sides, we'll keep that 30 constant. I need to refactor that out of the, ooh, that's a good question. I won't for now. I'll make a column constant. That's what I'll do. Column side constant. We're gonna make that like 18 or something. Sides height is gonna be equal to the height. Bottom radius is gonna be equal to the other radius. Do I want to make the radius of the column a function or something? I'm gonna make a constant for now, and we can adjust it later. I'll make it 0.1. Sure, I'll do 0.2, and this is gonna be a variable I'm definitely gonna play around with and make it super artsy, and it's probably gonna become a function in the end, but whatever. Top radius is gonna be the same as the bottom radius. Bottom offset is 0 and then 0. Vector 3. But really, this cake column needs an offset itself, so I'll say offset. Perfect. Perfect. So we're gonna start creating these cylinders. So if we pass it six cylinders, it's gonna create 6, but they're all gonna be in the same place, and that does us no good. So what we're gonna need to use is sine and cosine, and build these offsets and place them around in a circle or whatnot. So it's gonna be very similar to how we built this ring functionality. We're gonna apply the same concept, but now it's like rings within rings. It's ringception. So how do we do that? Let's see. We're gonna have a constant angle or whatnot. That angle. What is that angle? It's like math dot pi times 2 divided by the number of columns. I think that's pretty good. And then now we're just gonna literally increment the bottom offset by the current angle. Add. I'll say new vector dot new vector 3. There we go. And then there's gonna be sine. It's gonna be angle, and then 0, and then cosine. And then we need to multiply that by something. Right now it's 1, so we need to multiply it by the radius, I guess. And this function isn't even being used yet, so we need to use it. Say bottom layer dot, we'll make bottom columns for now. Whoops. I can't copy and paste correctly. If I do 2.5, and then the height is gonna be 1 again, number of columns, make it 6, and the offset is gonna be 1 vector up. And yeah, you're not being used. That's cute. Yeah, we're not actually multiplying the angle by anything. So it's gonna be angle times I. And I needs to be a float because casting issues. Not issues, it's deliberate. Cool. Well, we got ourselves some columns going around the cake. 2.5 is way too out there. We'll do 2. Awesome. And then that's, in my opinion, way too high. We'll bring it down. We'll do 0.5 instead. That's perfect. I think that's perfect. So now with that, we're gonna stack our next layer of the cake. And we're gonna start building our cake. This is super cool. And then we're gonna say middle layer. It's a cake tier. We're gonna say 2.0 and another height of 1. I'll do height of 10 in just a second because that sounds freaking ridiculous. Right. Oh, hahaha. The cake tier needs its own offset. I don't know why I thought it would just magically work. I think all programmers have some sort of hope, and that's why they continue to program. But, so the cake needs an offset as well. So that's going to validate the first function call. It's going to be 0. And then this is going to be up. So the bottom layer is laying on the bottom, and this is going to be laying 1 unit up, but really it needs to be multiplied by 2, or 1.5, right? Because the columns themselves add half a unit of height. And so let's make the cake tier function use this offset. And it's going to go right here. Right? It's going to go across all of them. I think, actually. Looks like it. It's just going to dot add offset. Pretty sure it's just going to go across all of them. Well, we have ourselves almost a cake. And it's just going to be playing around with a lot of different variables. I'm going to move these columns inward some, and I'm going to move this cake and expand its radius some as well. So this is actually kind of looking pretty okay. Do I have control over the column? Aha. Yeah. Yep. And there's the 0.2. Yep. Okay, I think I'm gonna make that a function. I'll make that 0.15 for now, because that's really, I'll make that 0.1 for now. And there's that more of the playing aroundness. Yeah, I think that looks about right. I'll still move them inward some, and I'll move the top, the middle layer outward some. So we'll do 1.8, and we'll do 2.1. Let's see if that makes it look right. That looks way more right. That looks like a cake and stuff. I'll move it in just a little more. And then we'll repeat for the top layer. And now you guys, you can kind of see how you'd make yourself a cake function, a procedural cake function or whatever. And this is all constructed with the one primitive, and that one primitive being the ring, which is basically a sheet of paper wrapped around and, you know, 2 ends taped to each other. So with that, just with that one little thing, you can build yourself a cake. Congratulations. And not just any cake, a 3-tiered wedding cake. So we're going to do middle columns. And it's going to be at 1.2 maybe. I'm not sure. And I'll do 4 instead of 6. And of course I need to actually use that. And let's see what happens. Oh, and I need to mess with the offset, and the offset is now going to be 2.5? I don't think it's 2.5. Did I just change your height? That was your height, wasn't it? That was your height. 0.5, and then vector 3, dot multiply by constant. And it's going to be 2.5, I think. There we go. And then we're going to put the final layer on top. That final layer, we're not going to have any columns. It's just going to be a layer. And I don't know why. I think, okay. Top. And it's going to have a radius of 1.4 or something. That sounds good. And then it's going to be taken to, it's going to be taken, I don't think it's 2.5. I don't think that's right. But I can just play around. And what happens? Yep, I need to bring it up a little more. So it's going to be 3. It's just going to be 3. Wow, that actually kind of looks pretty good. I think I'm going to shrink in the middle layers columns a little bit. We'll do what we'll do 1 0. We'll just do 1. Yeah, that looks pretty good in my head. And then if you want to make this a birthday cake, you would just use those column functions and put candles around on each layer. So that would be kind of a cool thing for you guys to do. If you wanted to just create a cake with the number of candles equal to your age, it's like that would be a cool little tidbit or whatever. So this looks pretty low poly. Let's see if I deselect all. Yeah. No fooling. This kind of looks sad. I swear, guys, as soon as we add normals, it's gonna look really slick, and then it's gonna be a cake, and you're gonna just have the best birthday or wedding ever. So much appreciated if you're watching at this point. You can kind of see how many triangles we're using. That will also be solved in a later video, and that will be in the vertex welding video. But I really appreciate you guys watching to this end. Please leave any comments for questions or what you want to learn next, and I look forward to it. I'll see you in the normals video, which is coming after this one, so we're finally going to get to circular stuff. Have a nice night.